They saw Predator mode and realized what humans truly are part. The Keltor system was empty except for rocks and dust. No planets, no stations. Just a strategic point in space where 200 Vrakan warships would meet 25 defenders. The Joint Human Council fleet arrived first and waited. Captain Han Bitna stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn. Around her, the crew worked in focused silence. Lieutenant Yu Minseo monitored sensors. Engineer Choi managed power distribution. Ambassador Park sat in the observer's seat, her diplomatic career now tied to the outcome of a battle. Vrakan fleet detected, Minseo announced. 200 contacts. They'll be in firing range in 10 minutes. Admiral Bak's voice came over the fleet-wide channel. All ships, this is Admiral Bayak. Hold your formations. Remember your training. We don't need to destroy them. We just need to show them that attacking the Council costs too much. In the Council chambers back at the station, High Counselor Veshtara watched the tactical display. Every Council member was present. Even Counselor Drexith, who had opposed everything, sat quietly watching. The chamber was silent. The Vrakan fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel in a massive formation. Their ships were jagged and aggressive-looking, built for intimidation as much as combat. Overlord Scarix's flagship led them, 3 times the size of any Council vessel. A transmission came through. Overlord Scarix appeared on every screen. He was massive even for a Vrakan, covered in black scales with scars across his face. "Surrender the humans and we will spare your worlds," he demanded. "Protect them and we will burn everything you have built." High Counselor Veshtara had prepared a response. She transmitted it personally. "We were prey," she said. "Today we are something else," Scarix roared. "Then die like prey." The Vrakan fleet attacked. The first wave hit the Council ships hard. The aliens manning the weapons fired back, but their aim was shaky. Fear made their hands tremble. Instinct screamed at them to run. 3 Council ships took heavy damage in the first minute. "Hold formation," Admiral Beck ordered. "Council vessels, focus fire on coordinates I'm transmitting. Don't try to shoot everything. Pick one target and hit it together." The Council ships obeyed. 5 of them concentrated their fire on a single Vrakan cruiser. The combined firepower overwhelmed its shields. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. It was the first Council victory in a battle they had never wanted to fight. "We got one," a Plexian captain transmitted. His voice shook with shock and pride. "Good," Beck replied calmly. "Now pick another target and do it again." The human warships fought differently. They didn't try to overwhelm the Vrakan with numbers or firepower. Instead, they used tactics, deception, misdirection. One human destroyer would draw fire while 2 others attacked from different angles. The Vrakan, used to straightforward combat, struggled to adapt. Sergeant Nam Junho commanded the Marine complement aboard one of the Council ships. When Vrakan boarding pods attached to the hull, his team was ready. "Remember," he told the mixed human-alien security force, "they're bigger and stronger, but we're smarter and better coordinated. Use the terrain. Use crossfire. Never fight fair." The Vrakan warriors who breached the hull found something unexpected. Prey species fighting back. Aliens who had never held weapons before now holding corridors with desperate courage. And humans directing them, turning every hallway into a killing zone. The battle raged for an hour. Ships on both sides took damage. The Vrakan lost 20 vessels. The Council lost 4, but the Council ships were not breaking. They were not running. Prey animals were standing their ground. Overlord Scarix watched in growing frustration. "They should be fleeing," he roared. "Prey runs." "Why aren't they running?" War Leader Krath, standing beside him, understood. Because the humans taught them something. Not how to hunt. How to protect. They're not attacking us. They're defending each other. It's different. The turning point came when the Eternal Dawn found itself surrounded. 40 Vrakan ships focused their fire on the human vessel. Captain Bitna watched her shields fail and her hull begin to buckle. "Captain, we need to retreat," Choi urged. Bitna looked at her crew. Good people. Brave people. People she had led into danger knowing they might not return. She thought about the colonists they had saved. The aliens learning to defend themselves. The galaxy that was changing because humans had chosen to help instead of conquer. "No," she said. "All power to weapons. If we're going down, we're taking some of them with us." Ramming speed. The Eternal Dawn accelerated directly toward the Vrakan formation. Its weapons fired continuously, no longer worrying about ammunition or overheating. It was a suicide run, and everyone on board knew it. Ambassador Park stood and placed her hand on Bitna's shoulder. "It's been an honor, Captain." "The honor is mine," Bitna replied. Then something unexpected happened. The council ships broke formation. Instead of maintaining safe positions, they accelerated toward the eternal dawn. 20 vessels surrounded the damaged human ship, putting themselves between it and the Vrakan fleet. "What are they doing?" Minseo asked. A transmission came through. It was the Plexian captain who had scored the first kill. "The humans taught us to protect the herd. You're part of our herd now. We stand together." Tears appeared in Park's eyes. This was what she had hoped for. Not humans conquering. Not humans leading. Humans and aliens standing together as equals. The Vrakan pressed their attack, but now they faced a different problem. The council ships fought with renewed determination. They weren't just defending themselves anymore. They were defending the humans who had taught them courage. Admiral Bayek saw the opportunity. "All human vessels, emergency maneuver Delta 7. Execute now." The 5 human warships broke formation and drove straight into the heart of the Vrakan fleet. It was a risky move, putting them in range of hundreds of weapons, but it split the enemy's attention. Half the Vrakan ships turned to face this new threat, breaking their coordinated assault on the council vessels. "Now," Beck ordered the council fleet. While they're distracted, hit them from behind. For the first time in the battle, the council ships attacked aggressively. They had learned something important. Defense wasn't just blocking attacks. It was seizing moments to strike back. The Vrakan found themselves caught between 2 forces, being hit from multiple directions. Overlord Scarix realized his mistake. He had expected prey. He had found soldiers. Not human soldiers, but something new. Prey species who had learned to fight like pack hunters. The combination was devastating. "Retreat," Krath advised. "We've lost 50 ships. They've lost 7. This is not a victory we can achieve." Pride warred with wisdom in Scarix's mind. The Vrakan had never retreated from prey. But these weren't just prey anymore. These were prey who had learned from predators and become something else. "No," Scarix growled. "I will not retreat. I will defeat them personally." He ordered his flagship to target the eternal dawn. If he could kill the humans, the council's courage would break. The flagship accelerated toward Bitna's damaged ship. It was 5 times larger, with weapons that could crack a moon. The Eternal Dawn had failing shields and a damaged engine. There was no escape. Admiral Bayek saw what was happening. She made a choice. Her destroyer, the Soul's Pride, intercepted Scarix's flagship. The ships collided in a shower of metal and fire. Both were heavily damaged, locked together in space. "All crew, abandon ship," Beck ordered calmly. "I'm overloading the reactor. We're taking him with us." "Admiral, no," Bitna transmitted. "There has to be another way." "There is," Beck replied. "Sacrifice. It's what predators do when they protect the pack." She smiled. "Show them what humans truly are, Captain. Show them we're worth saving." The Soul's Pride exploded, taking Overlord Scarix's flagship with it. The shockwave damaged 20 nearby Vrakan ships, and it broke their will. Without their overlord, without a clear leader, the Vrakan fleet hesitated. War leader Krath took command. He could continue the battle, but he had learned enough about humans to know they would never surrender, and he had seen enough of council courage to know prey could bite back. "Fleet withdraw," he ordered. The Vrakan turned and accelerated away, engaging their faster-than-light drives. In seconds, they were gone. The silence after the battle was profound. The council fleet floated in space, damaged but intact. 7 ships destroyed, hundreds dead, but they had won. Prey species had stood against predators and survived. In the council chambers, the members sat in stunned silence. Then slowly one began to applaud, then another, then all of them. Even Councillor Drexith stood and clapped, tears running down his scaled face. Captain Bitna's bridge crew looked at each other in shock. They had survived. Corporal Lee Ji-won, her armor scorched and her rifle empty, sat down hard on the deck and laughed. Medic Shin Soyeon worked frantically in the medical bay, treating wounded from both the Eternal Dawn and the council ships that had docked with them. An alien medic worked beside her, learning human trauma surgery techniques. "You do this a lot?" the alien asked. "We used to," Shin replied. "Before we learned peace. Now we only do it to protect others." 3 days later, a memorial service was held on Council Station Harmony. Admiral Bayek Suman was honored along with the other humans and aliens who had died in the battle. High Counselor Veshtara spoke at the ceremony. They saw Predator mode and realized what humans truly are part. The Eternal Dawn returned to Council Station Harmony 3 days after the battle. This time no one tried to stop them from docking. The station's main bay had been cleared, and medical teams from a dozen species waited to help with the wounded colonists. Captain Han Bitna stood at the airlock as the evacuees were transferred to Council care. The aliens still flinched when humans came near, but there was something different now, gratitude mixed with fear, respect mixed with uncertainty. Among the ships waiting at the station were 5 new arrivals, human warships. They were sleek and dangerous looking, bristling with weapons that the Council species had never seen before. Leading them was Admiral Beck Suman, commander of Earth's defense fleet. Beck was a serious woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had fought in Earth's last war 40 years ago. She had hoped never to command a battle fleet again. But when Earth heard about the Fraken attack, she had been given no choice. Captain Han, Beck said as she boarded the Eternal Dawn, your actions were brave but reckless. You've created a diplomatic incident. Yes, Admiral, Bitna replied. I saved 300 lives and created a diplomatic incident. I'd make the same choice again. Beck's stern expression softened slightly. I know you would. That's why I brought reinforcements instead of court-martial papers. The Council called an emergency assembly. Every species sent representatives. The chamber was more crowded than it had been in decades. High Counselor Veshtara stood at the center and called for order. We are here to discuss humanity's place in our council, she began. 3 days ago we witnessed humans engage in violence to protect our people. The question before us is simple. Are humans too dangerous to remain in the council, or are they exactly what we need? The chamber erupted immediately. Counselor Drexith stood, his scales flushed dark with emotion. We saw them fight. We saw them kill. They have weapons designed for nothing but death. They brought warships to our peaceful station. This is the behavior of conquerors, not partners. They saved our people, Counselor Ivana countered. While we debated and delayed, they acted. Yes, they used violence, but they used it to protect the weak. Is that not what we claim to value? Ambassador Park Hyejeon had been granted permission to speak. She stood now facing hundreds of alien eyes. Members of the Council, I will not lie to you. Humans are predators. Our evolution made us hunters. For thousands of years, we hunted each other as much as we hunted animals. We built weapons. We waged wars. We nearly destroyed ourselves 3 times. The chamber was silent. Park continued. But we also did something else. We learned, we grew, we built peace from the ashes of war, not because we became weak, but because we became wise. We still have weapons. We still have soldiers, but we choose when to use them, and we choose to use them for protection, not conquest. Drexith was not convinced. You ask us to trust predators, to believe that you've overcome your nature, but nature is not so easily defeated. Admiral Beck stepped forward. She had not been scheduled to speak, but Veshtara allowed it. Nature is not defeated, Beck said. It's channeled. Yes, humans have instincts to hunt, to fight, to dominate, but we also have instincts to protect our pack, to care for the young, to form communities. We don't suppress our nature. We direct it toward better purposes. A new voice spoke up. It was Science Director Quilnor, the avian representative who had fled from the first dinner with humans. I have studied your biology, he said. Your endurance, your binocular vision, your throwing capability. All of these are hunting adaptations. But I've also studied your culture. Your stories celebrate heroes who protect the weak. Your laws punish those who prey on the helpless. You've built an entire civilization around the idea that the strong should protect the weak. That's not predator behavior. That's something else. It's human behavior, Dr. Kang Taman said from the observation area. We're predators who chose to become protectors. It's not a contradiction. It's an evolution. The debate raged for hours. Some council members wanted humans expelled immediately. Others wanted full integration. A third group, led by Counselor Threxos, wanted to maintain distance without hostility. Then new information arrived. Security Chief Branthos interrupted the proceedings with an urgent report. We've received intelligence from the Outer Rim. The Vrakan Empire is mobilizing. War leader Krath's defeat has angered their overlord. They're assembling a fleet. The chamber fell silent. How large? Veshtara asked quietly. 200 ships. They're not coming for resources. They're coming for revenge and honor. Panic spread through the chamber. Council species began talking over each other, their voices rising in fear. 200 Vrakan warships. The council had no way to stop them. No weapons, no military, no concept of organized defense. Admiral Bayek waited for the noise to die down. Then she spoke. "We can help you. Help us how?" Drexith demanded. "By turning our civilization into warriors? By making us into killers like you?" "No," Beck said patiently. "By teaching you to defend yourselves. There's a difference between being a killer and being able to kill. The first is what you are. The second is what you choose to do when necessary." "You want to arm us," Veshtara said. It was not a question. "I want to give you options," Beck replied. "Right now, when danger comes, you can only run or hide. We can teach you to stand, to fight when you must, to protect what you've built." Counselor Ivena stood. "High Counselor, I wish to speak." She moved to the center of the chamber. Her voice was quiet but clear. "For 10,000 years we have built our civilization on avoiding danger. We've survived by running, by hiding, by hoping that predators would not find us. And it has worked. We've created beauty and peace and knowledge," she paused. "But we've also lived in constant fear. We've abandoned colonies when threats appeared. We've retreated from exploration because of danger. We've limited ourselves because we were afraid. The humans offer us something we've never had, the ability to say no to those who would harm us. But at what cost?" Someone shouted. "We'll become like them, violent, aggressive. Will we?" Ivena asked. "Or will we become something new? Prey animals with the ability to defend ourselves. Peaceful species who choose peace from strength, not weakness," the vote was called. It was closer than anyone expected. 28 species voted in favor of accepting human military assistance. 19 voted against. The motion passed. The training began immediately. Corporal Li Jiwan found herself teaching alien security forces how to think tactically. It was strange work. The aliens had no instinct for combat. They flinched from weapons. They hesitated to pull triggers even in simulations. "You're thinking like prey," Jiwan explained to a group of Plexian volunteers. "When danger comes, your instinct is to run. You need to learn a new instinct. Protect the herd. You're not attacking. You're defending. That makes all the difference." Sergeant Nam Junho worked with ship crews, teaching them combat coordination. "Communication is everything," he explained. "One ship alone is weak. 10 ships working together are unstoppable, not because of firepower, but because of cooperation." Lieutenant Yu Minseo trained bridge officers in tactical thinking. She found that while aliens lacked combat instincts, they were incredibly good at pattern recognition and strategic planning. "You're actually better at this than humans in some ways," she admitted. "You see the whole picture. You just need to overcome the urge to flee when you see danger." Engineer Choi worked with alien engineers to weaponize council ships. They were designed for exploration, with powerful engines and sophisticated sensors. Adding weapons was straightforward. Teaching the crews to use them was harder. Dr. Kang made a breakthrough after 2 weeks of observation. He called Admiral Bayek and Ambassador Park to his lab. "I figured it out," he said excitedly. "We've been training them wrong." "Explain," Beck ordered. "We're trying to teach them to think like predators, but they're prey. We can't change millions of years of evolution, but we can redirect it. Prey animals protect their young. They warn the herd of danger. They band together against threats. We need to teach them defensive tactics, not offensive ones." The training shifted focus. Instead of teaching aliens to attack, humans taught them to defend, to hold ground, to protect the weak, to stand together. Slowly, the volunteers began to improve. There were setbacks. A Plexian trainee had a panic attack when holding a rifle. An avian officer refused to complete combat simulations because the violence made him sick. But others persisted. They were afraid, but they were more afraid of being helpless. One evening, Captain Bitna found a young alien volunteer crying in the training room. "I can't do this," the volunteer said. "I'm not a fighter. I'm not brave like humans." Bitna sat down next to him. "Do you know what courage is?" she asked. "Being unafraid?" "No, courage is being afraid and acting anyway. Humans are afraid all the time. We just learned not to let fear make our choices for us." 3 weeks into training, long-range sensors detected the Vrakan fleet. They were coming fast, burning through fuel to arrive sooner. They would reach Council space in 72 hours. The joint Human Council fleet assembled. 25 ships total, 5 human warships. 20 council vessels that had been quickly armed with human weapons. The crews were barely trained. They saw Predator mode and realized what humans truly are part. 3. The Eternal Dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the mining colony system. What appeared on their screens made the bridge crew fall silent. The colony was burning. Small fires dotted the surface of the asteroid where the settlement had been built. Defensive barriers were smashed. Buildings had collapsed. Bodies lay in the open spaces, visible even from orbit. Life signs, Captain Han Bitna asked quietly. Lieutenant Yu Min-seo worked her sensors. I'm reading. 312. All underground in the mining tunnels and... She paused. Captain, there are others on the surface. Non-colonist signatures. 153 of them. Show me. The screen shifted to show thermal imaging. The colonists huddled in tight groups deep in the tunnels, barely moving. On the surface, other figures prowled through the settlement. They moved like hunters, searching methodically through every structure. Fraken, Dr. Kang Taemin said from behind them. He had pulled up files on his tablet. Reptilian predator species. The council thought they went extinct 50 years ago. Clearly not, Engineer Choi muttered. Taemin continued reading. Vraken are apex predators, stronger and faster than humans. Natural claws and armor-like scales. They traditionally hunt in small packs. This many in one place is unusual. They're not hunting, Min-seo said, watching the patterns on screen. Look at how they move. They're taking their time, playing with their prey. Bitna felt something cold and hard settle inside her chest. She knew that feeling. It was the same one she'd had during her military service back when Earth still had soldiers. The feeling that came when violence was the only option left. Weapon status? She asked. The ship has defensive lasers and point defense systems, Choi reported. We're a diplomatic vessel, not a warship. And Captain, we have 40 crew members. 12 of them are Marines, but they're honor guards, not combat troops. They're what we've got, Bitna said. She opened the ship-wide communication channel. All hands, this is the captain. We have 300 colonists trapped underground with 150 hostile predators on the surface. Council rescue is 4 days away. Those people don't have 4 hours. We're going to help them. She paused, then continued. I won't order anyone into danger. Marines report to the armory. Everyone else prepare for emergency medical operations and refugee evacuation. We're going to save who we can. Bitna out. In the Marine quarters, Sergeant Nam Junho was already gearing up. He was a quiet man, methodical and careful. Next to him, Corporal Lee Jiwan checked her rifle with practiced ease. She had always been the brave one, quick to smile and quick to fight. 12 against 150, Jiwan said. I've had worse odds. No, you haven't, Nam said flatly. Okay, no, I haven't, but there's a first time for everything. The Marines gathered in the armory. They had weapons that the Council species had never seen. Firearms, explosives, combat drones. Tools that humanity had refined over thousands of years of warfare. Combat medic Shin Soyeon joined them, her medical pack already loaded. She was young but had steady hands and a calm voice. Try not to get shot, she said. I'm good, but I'm not a miracle worker. We'll do our best, Nam replied. On the bridge, Ambassador Park Hye-jin sat in stunned silence. She had devoted her life to diplomacy, to peace, to showing the galaxy that humans had evolved beyond violence. Now she was watching her own people prepare for war. I'm sorry, Bitna said to her. I know this isn't what you wanted. What I want doesn't matter, Park said quietly. What matters is those people down there. Save them, Captain. The eternal dawn descended through the thin atmosphere. As they approached, the Vraken on the surface noticed them. Through the view screen, the crew could see them clearly now. They were massive, covered in scales that reflected light like metal. Their mouths held rows of sharp teeth. Their claws could tear through metal. One of them, larger than the others, looked up at the ship and roared. The sound was picked up by the ship's external sensors, a challenge to the newcomers. That's their leader, Taemin said. War leader Krath, according to the database. He's won 17 single combats. Good for him, Jiwan said over the comm from the drop bay. I brought friends. The landing craft deployed from the eternal dawn. 12 Marines in combat armor hit the ground in a tight formation. The Vraken saw them and charged immediately. They expected easy prey. Small creatures with no natural weapons, soft skin, weak bodies. The first wave of Vraken hit an invisible wall of gunfire. The humans didn't panic, didn't scatter. They held their formation and fired in coordinated volleys. Vrecken fell, roaring in pain and confusion. They had never faced prey that fought back like this. War leader Krath watched from a distance. His warriors were dying, these small creatures killed from far away with weapons that spat fire and metal. When his warriors tried to close the distance, the creatures retreated in perfect coordination, always maintaining their killing range. This was wrong. Prey was supposed to run. Prey was supposed to be chaotic and afraid. These creatures fought like a pack, but not like any pack he had ever seen. They fought with cold precision, without rage, without fear. Fall back to defensive positions, Nam ordered over the comm. The Marines retreated to pre-selected locations with good cover and overlapping fields of fire. More Vracken charged. More Vracken died. While the Marines held the surface, the Eternal Dawn landed near the entrance to the mining tunnels. The rear doors opened and Medic Shin ran out with a team of volunteers. Inside the tunnels, they found the colonists. Hundreds of them, packed into the deepest chambers. Civilians, families, children. "We're here to evacuate you," Shin said to the first group she found. They were Plexian, like High Counselor Veshtara. Their large eyes were wide with terror. "You're human," one of them whispered. "You're predators." "Yes," Shin said simply. "But right now, we're your predators. Come with us if you want to live." The evacuation began. Colonists moved toward the ship in groups, protected by volunteers. They flinched when the humans came near. Their instincts screamed at them to run from these forward-eyed creatures. But the sounds of battle on the surface were worse. A Plexian child, no more than 5 years old by human standards, clung to her father as they ran. She looked at Shin and asked, "Why aren't you scared?" Shin checked her medical scanner while keeping watch on the tunnel entrance. "I am scared," she admitted. "Fear is good. It keeps you careful. But we don't let fear make our decisions." On the surface, the battle had reached a new phase. The Vracken regrouped. War leader Krath organized them into a proper assault. 40 warriors charged the Marine positions from multiple directions. They were learning. "Contact front." "Contact left," Corporal Jiwan shouted. Her rifle barked continuously. Next to her, another Marine tossed a grenade. The explosion scattered the Vracken, but they kept coming. "They're adapting," Nam observed coldly. Jiwan, fall back to position 2. Everyone else covering fire. The Marines retreated again, but this time the Vracken anticipated it. They had split their forces. 10 Vracken had circled around and now blocked the retreat path. "We're trapped," someone said over the comm. "No," Nam replied. "They're trapped with us." Switched to close defense, the Marines formed a circle back to back. When the Vracken closed in expecting easy kills, they found something else. Humans fighting with the desperation of cornered animals, but the coordination of trained soldiers. Knife fighting. Hand-to-hand combat. Every dirty trick humanity had learned in 10,000 years of warfare. A Vracken warrior grabbed Jiwan, its claws tearing through her armor. She didn't scream. She pulled a pistol and fired point blank into its throat. When it fell, she was already moving, already shooting the next target. Engineer Choi, watching from the ship, saw an opportunity. The mining colony had explosives for breaking rocks. He remote-activated them along the colony's edge, collapsing a section of tunnels and trapping a group of Vracken. "That's for the kids," he muttered. Back on Council Station Harmony, High Counselor Veshtara had set up a live feed from the colony. The entire council watched in stunned silence. They saw humans fighting with a combination of technology and tactics that no prey species had ever developed. They saw 12 individuals holding off more than 100 predators. "This is madness," Counselor Drexith whispered. "They should be dead already." "But they're not," Ivana said. "Look at them. They're not fighting like predators. Predators hunt alone or in small packs. These humans fight like a single organism. Every action supports the others." On screen, the Marines completed another retreat, leaving behind explosive traps. When the Vracken pursued, the mines detonated. War leader Krath roared in frustration. His warriors were dying to creatures half their size. He decided to end it personally. Krath was massive, even for a Vracken. He had killed hundreds of prey animals in his lifetime. He charged toward Sergeant Nam, who stood alone, reloading his rifle. The two met in combat. Krath was faster, stronger, naturally armed with claws and teeth. Nam had a rifle with 3 bullets left, a knife, and a handful of grenades. The fight should have lasted seconds. It lasted 2 minutes. Nam used distance, cover, and superior ranged weapons. When his rifle was destroyed, he used grenades. When those ran out, he fought hand-to-hand, but not honorably. He went for eyes. They saw predator mode and realized what humans truly are part. The surveillance drones were not subtle. Lieutenant Yu Minseo tracked 3 of them hovering outside the Eternal Dawn. Their sensors pointed directly at the ship's hull. She reported this to Captain Han Bitna during the morning briefing. "They're watching everything we do," Minseo said. "Every transmission, every power fluctuation, every time someone looks out a window." Bitna sighed. She had barely slept. The distress signal from the mining colony kept playing in her mind. 15 hours old now. Have we received any communication from the council? Nothing official, Minseo replied. But I've been monitoring their public channels. They're arguing about us. In the council chambers, the argument had indeed become heated. The room was divided into 2 main groups. On one side stood Councillor Drexith, a reptilian creature with scales that flushed red when he was angry. He led what they called the Caution faction. "These humans are dangerous," Drexith said, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Look at their history. Thousands of years of warfare. They have words for different types of killing: murder, assassination, execution, slaughter. What kind of species needs so many words for death?" On the other side, Councillor Ivena stood firm. She was smaller than Drexith, covered in soft fur, but her voice was steady. "They also have words for love, compassion, sacrifice, friendship. They created art and music and poetry even while they fought wars." "Does that mean nothing?" "It means they're intelligent predators," Drexith countered. "Which makes them more dangerous, not less." The debate continued for hours. Evidence was presented on screens for all to see. Videos of human history played out: wars, weapons, combat sports where humans fought each other for entertainment, hunting videos where humans tracked animals through forests and across plains. "They don't just kill for food," another counselor noted. "They hunt for sport, for pleasure. They also rescue animals," Ivana argued. "They protect endangered species. They create sanctuaries for creatures that cannot protect themselves. Does that not show evolution beyond mere predation?" High Counselor Veshtara watched the debate from her high seat but said nothing. She was troubled by what she saw in the humans, but also by what she saw in her own people. The council had built a civilization on avoiding conflict, not resolving it. What would they do if real danger came? Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Dr. Kang Taman was explaining prey psychology to the crew. They had gathered in the common room, trying to understand what was happening. "Prey animals live with constant fear," Taman said. "On Earth, a rabbit knows that any moment could be its last. A deer never fully relaxes. This fear gets built into their brains over millions of years. The aliens in the council evolved the same way." "But they're intelligent beings," Engineer Choi said. "Surely they can overcome instinct with logic." "Can you?" Taman asked. "If someone throws something at your face, you blink. That's instinct. You can't stop it with logic. The same is true for them. When they see forward-facing eyes and hear about persistence hunting, their instincts scream predator, and every fiber of their being wants to run. So what do we do?" Someone asked. "We prove that instincts can be wrong," Taman said, "or at least incomplete." Ambassador Park Hye-jin had been trying to contact council members privately, but no one would speak with her. Finally, after the second day of silence, she decided to record a message and transmit it to the council chambers. "Members of the council," she began, "I understand your fear. Humanity does not deny what we are. Yes, we evolved as hunters. Yes, we have forward-facing eyes designed to track prey. Yes, our endurance and tool use made us apex predators on our world. But we are also more than our evolutionary past." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Humans spent 10,000 years fighting each other. We nearly destroyed our own world 3 times. We know what violence costs. We know it intimately, and because we know it, we chose to stop. We built peace not because we were weak, but because we were strong enough to choose differently." The message was received but not acknowledged. Park didn't know if anyone even watched it. On the 3rd day of quarantine, the distress signal from the mining colony stopped. Lieutenant Minseo noticed it first. She checked and rechecked, hoping she was wrong. "Captain," she said quietly, "the signal is gone." Bitna felt something cold settle in her stomach. Gone as in blocked? Or gone as in just gone? Either they lost power or... Minseo didn't finish. "Or everyone's dead," Bitna completed. That evening, Counselor Ivena did something unprecedented. She left the council chambers and went to the docking area where the Eternal Dawn was birthed. Security tried to stop her, but she pulled rank. She approached the ship alone and requested permission to board. Bitna granted it immediately. They met in the ship's small conference room. Ivana looked tired. Her fur was unkempt and her large eyes showed signs of stress. "I am taking a risk coming here," Ivana said. "If certain council members knew I was speaking with you, it would damage my position." "Then why come?" Bitna asked. "Because I need you to understand something," Ivana said. "The council knows about the distress signal from the mining colony. We've known since the beginning." Bitna's hands clenched into fists under the table. "You knew people were dying and you kept us locked here?" "The council has been debating whether to send help," Ivana explained. "But we don't have ships designed for rescue under hostile conditions. We don't have weapons. We don't have soldiers. We've never needed them. What attacked the colony? We don't know. The signals were unclear. But the debate in the council is this. If we send ships to investigate and encounter hostile predators, what then? Our entire civilization has no concept of organized defense. We've existed for thousands of years by avoiding danger, not confronting it." Bitna stood and paced the small room. "So you're just going to abandon them?" "The vote is tomorrow," Ivana said. "I believe it will fail. Most counselors think the risk is too great." She reached into her robe and pulled out a data chip. "This contains override codes for the station's docking clamps and security systems. If the council votes not to help, I'm giving you permission to leave." "Why?" Ivana's large eyes met Bitna's. "Because I want to see what humans truly are. Not what our fear tells us you are, but what you choose to be when no one is forcing you. If you leave to save those colonists, knowing it might cost you your place in the council, knowing the whole galaxy will see you as aggressive predators, that will tell me everything I need to know." She left the chip on the table and stood. "The vote is at noon tomorrow. Whatever happens, Captain, know that some of us see you as more than just predators." After Ivana left, Bitna gathered her senior staff. She explained the situation. The room was silent for a long moment. "It's a trap," Choi said finally. "They're testing us. If we go, we prove we're aggressive. If we stay, we prove we're cowards." "Maybe," Ambassador Park said. "Or maybe Counselor Ivana is genuine. Maybe she really does want to see who we are." "There are 700 people in that colony," Dr. Taman said quietly. "We're 700. We don't know if any survived." "We know the signal stopped 3 hours ago," Minseo added. "If anyone's alive, they won't be for long." Bitna looked around the table at her crew. These people trusted her. They followed her orders. Whatever she decided would define not just her career but possibly humanity's future in the stars. "We wait for the vote," she said finally. "If the council agrees to send help, we'll offer to assist. If they refuse..." She picked up the data chip Ivana had left. "Then we show them what humans do when people need help." The next day, the council chambers filled with representatives from all 47 species. The vote was called. High Counselor Veshtara stated the question clearly. Will the council authorize a rescue mission to the Outer Rim mining colony, despite unknown hostile forces? The voting began. Green lights for yes, red lights for no. The board lit up like a constellation. When the count finished, the result was clear. 38 red lights, 9 green. "The motion fails," Veshtara announced. "The council will not send a rescue mission. All ships are advised to avoid the Outer Rim sectors until the threat is identified and neutralized." In the observation gallery, several council members who had voted no looked relieved. Some who had voted yes looked ashamed. Then someone noticed the activity at docking port 73. "The human ship is powering up," Security Chief Branthos announced. On the main screen, everyone watched as the Eternal Dawn disengaged its docking clamps without authorization. Station security moved to stop them, but their systems had been locked out. Someone had used override codes. The human ship's engines flared to life. It turned gracefully in space and aligned itself toward the Outer Rim. For a moment it hung there, as if giving the council one last chance to change their minds. Then its faster-than-light drive engaged, and the ship vanished in a flash of light. The council chambers erupted in chaos. Some shouted about human aggression. Others demanded to know who had given them the override codes. But Veshtara simply stared at the empty space where the human ship had been. "Prepare a monitoring system," she ordered. "I want to see what happens at that colony. Whatever the humans do next will tell us everything we need to know." The ship jumped through space faster than light. They saw predator mode and realized what humans truly are part. The starship Eternal Dawn glided through the darkness of space, its hull reflecting the distant glow of a neutron star. Inside the bridge, Captain Han Bitna watched the massive space station grow larger on the view screen. Council Station Harmony was enormous, built like a giant ring with hundreds of docking ports. It had taken humanity 5 years to earn an invitation here, and Bitna was determined not to waste it. "We're cleared for docking at Port 73, said Lieutenant Yu Minseo from the navigation console. She was young but sharp, always 3 steps ahead of any problem. Bitna nodded and stood up, smoothing her uniform. "Tell Ambassador Park we'll be docked in 10 minutes. And someone wake up Dr. Kang. He said he wanted to observe the aliens up close." In the medical bay, Dr. Kang Taman was already awake, reading through files on his tablet. He studied alien biology, and the Galactic Council fascinated him. 47 different species all living together in peace. No wars, no conflicts, just cooperation. It seemed too good to be true. The docking procedure went smoothly. Engineer Choi Dae-hyun made sure every system was perfect before the airlock opened. He was the kind of man who checked everything twice, then checked it again. "All green, Captain," he reported. "We're ready." Ambassador Park Hye-jin waited at the airlock with Bitna and Taman. She was older, experienced, and had spent months preparing for this moment. "Remember," she said quietly, "we're the newcomers here. Let them lead. Be respectful. Don't make sudden moves." "Why would we make sudden moves?" Taman asked, confused. Park smiled. "Just a feeling I have. These aliens seem nervous around us." The airlock doors opened with a hiss. On the other side stood 3 aliens. The first was tall and thin, with gray skin and large eyes positioned on the sides of its head. This was High Counselor Veshtara, leader of the Plexian race. The second alien looked like a bird that had evolved to walk upright, with feathers and a sharp beak. Science Director Quilnor, Taman remembered from his files. The third was covered in brown fur with long ears that swiveled constantly. "Security Chief Branthos. Welcome to Council Station Harmony," Veshtara said in perfect English. The translation devices worked flawlessly. "We are honored to host humanity." Park stepped forward and extended her hand for a handshake. All 3 aliens flinched backward. Park froze, her hand still outstretched. An awkward silence filled the corridor. "I apologize," Veshtara said quickly. "We are not accustomed to direct physical contact with strangers." Park lowered her hand slowly. "Of course. I should have researched your customs better." As they walked through the station, Taman noticed strange things. The aliens always positioned themselves near exits. Their eyes constantly scanned the corridors. When a door opened suddenly, Branthos jumped, his hand moving to something on his belt. These were not the confident, peaceful beings he had expected. They seemed afraid of everything. The tour took them through the main council chambers, a huge circular room with seats arranged in layers. Everything was rounded with no sharp corners. The lighting was bright, leaving no shadows. Windows offered views in every direction. "It's beautiful," Bitna said honestly. "It is designed for maximum visibility," Quilnor explained. "We find comfort in seeing our surroundings clearly." Taman's scientific mind began working. Maximum visibility. Eyes on the sides of their heads for wide-angle vision. Constant awareness of exits. Skittish reactions to sudden movements. A pattern was forming, but he kept quiet for now. The welcoming ceremony was scheduled for the evening. The human delegation was given quarters in the guest section of the station. Taman immediately sought out Bitna in her room. "Captain, I need to tell you something," he said urgently. Bitna looked up from her reports. "What is it, Doctor?" "Every species in the Galactic Council evolved from prey animals," Taman said. "Think about it. Eyes on the sides of their heads for wide vision. They startle easily. They're obsessed with exits and visibility. They don't like being approached directly. These are all prey behaviors." Bitna sat back in her chair. "You're saying we're the only predators here?" "I'm saying we might be the first predators they've ever met." The realization hung in the air between them. Bitna stood and paced the small room. "We need to tell Ambassador Park. This changes how we should behave." At the welcoming ceremony, the human delegation tried to be careful. They avoided direct eye contact. They moved slowly. They kept their distance from the aliens, but every little thing seemed wrong. When Engineer Choi was asked about human problem-solving approaches, he described how humans pursue solutions until they find them. Several aliens shifted uncomfortably at the word pursue. When someone asked about Earth's animals, Taman mentioned that humans used to hunt by chasing prey for hours until the animals collapsed from exhaustion. The room went silent. Quilnor's feathers ruffled in what was clearly distress. Bitna tried to salvage the situation by talking about human culture. But when she made eye contact with Veshtara while speaking, the counselor actually stepped backward. The formal dinner was the worst. The aliens served elaborate dishes, all vegetables and synthetic proteins. Everything looked beautiful, but there was no meat anywhere. Park tried to be diplomatic. "This is wonderful. Do you have any dishes with meat?" Every alien in the room froze. Some of them turned to look at the humans with what could only be described as horror. "You consume flesh?" Veshtara asked quietly. Park realized her mistake but couldn't take it back. "Humans are omnivores. We eat both plants and meat. It's part of our biology." Quilner stood abruptly. "Excuse me. I must leave." He walked quickly toward the exit, his gait unsteady. The dinner ended early. As the humans returned to their quarters, Taman noticed security drones following them at a distance. "They're watching us," Minseo whispered to Bitna. "I know," the captain replied. That night, an emergency council session was called. The humans were not invited. Through the station's public announcement system, they heard parts of the debate. Words like threat assessment and dangerous species filtered through. Ambassador Park sat in her quarters, feeling the weight of failure. 5 years of preparation, ruined because they hadn't realized one simple fact. Humans were predators in a galaxy of prey. A message came through on Bitna's private terminal. It was a distress signal, weak but urgent. A mining colony on the outer rim was under attack. The timestamp showed it was 14 hours old. Bitna brought the message to Park and Choi. "We have to respond," she said. "We're under some kind of quarantine," Park replied. "If we leave now, it'll confirm their fears about us. If we don't leave, people will die," Bitna countered. Before they could decide, another message arrived. This one was official from the council. The human delegation was ordered to remain aboard the Eternal Dawn until further notice. They were not to leave the docking area. A decision about humanity's place in the council would be made within 48 hours. Bitna looked at the distress signal again. The colony had 700 inhabitants. Men, women, children, prey species, all of them, helpless if something was hunting them. "What are we going to do?" Choi asked. Bitna closed her eyes. She thought about what it meant to be human. Yes, humans were predators. Their eyes faced forward for tracking prey. Their bodies were built for endurance hunting. Their teeth could tear meat, but humans were also something else. They were pack animals who protected the weak. They were tool users who built instead of destroyed. They were thinkers who chose their actions. "We wait," Bitna said finally. "For now we wait. But if the council won't help those colonists..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. In the council chambers, the debate raged on. Some wanted the humans expelled immediately. Others argued for giving them a chance. Veshtara, who had lived longest and seen most, stayed quiet. She remembered an old saying from her world. Judge a predator not by its teeth, but by what it chooses to bite. The question was, what would the humans choose? Outside, in the cold vacuum of space, the Eternal Dawn waited. Inside, its crew made their own quiet preparations. Because humans had learned long ago that hope was good, but having a plan was better. And somewhere on the outer rim, in a mining colony that no one was coming to save, people screamed in the darkness.